Phones with batteries over 7000 mAh have been all the rage in 2025. We have seen plenty of options across different budgets, two of them being the OnePlus Nord CE and the iQOO Z10. Now technically both these devices start under 25,000 rupees, but the iQOO is priced 4,000 less than the Nord, and for the price difference it does sacrifice a bit on the hardware. But is the Nord CE worth the extra cash, especially when it comes to hardware, performance and battery life? This is exactly what we are here to find out. Hello everyone, I'm Ania for Digit, and this is the battery drain test comparison between the OnePlus Nord CE and the iQOO Z10. Let's get started. On your screens are the key specs of both phones. So for a higher budget, the Nord CE does come with a better chip along with faster RAM and storage types. The Nord also features much longer software support than the iQOO Z10. However, the iQOO Z10 features a slightly bigger battery and faster charging. Okay, the rules of the battery test are simple. For those tuning in for the first time, both these phones are charged to 100%. Among the two, the Nord CE booted first. Both phones are connected to the same Wi-Fi network. The audio volume is set at 50%. Brightness is tuned to around 505 nits using a lux meter. Adaptive brightness is disabled, light mode is enabled, and video enhancement settings are enabled on both devices. With that, we start with the 2-hour YouTube video playback round. Now, both phones support HDR playback on their Full HD Plus AMOLED screens, but the real difference lies in color tuning and brightness. The iQOO Z10 flaunts a massive 5000 nits peak brightness, though that's just marketing speak, since peak brightness only applies to tiny screen areas, that too for a brief moment. What actually matters is the high brightness mode, and both phones hit a solid 1300 nits there. They are not the brightest under harsh sunlight, but for their prices, they do a fine job. As for colors, the Nord CE keeps things natural and accurate, while the iQOO Z10 goes a bit heavy on saturation, adding a slightly cool bluish tone. It's not a deal breaker, but if you prefer realistic tones, well, the Nord CE definitely has the better looking display between the two phones. Alright, we're done with the first round, and after 2 hours of YouTube video playback, the iQOO Z10 has taken the lead with 96% battery left, while the Nord CE is left with 90% battery. With that, it is now time to run an hour of 4K video recording, and while both phones are at it, here's a look at the camera specs of both devices. The OnePlus Nord CE features a dual rear camera setup comprising a 50 megapixel Sony LYT600 primary camera, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera, and a 16 megapixel snapper at the front for selfies. In terms of video recording, the rear camera is capped at 4K 60 FPS, while the front only supports up to 1080p 60 FPS recording. Now, the iQOO Z10 on the other hand also features a dual rear camera setup featuring a 50 megapixel Sony IMX882 primary camera paired with a 2 megapixel depth sensor and a 32 megapixel selfie camera. Interestingly, the iQOO Z10 supports 4K video recording from both the front and rear cameras, but only up to 30 FPS. Okay, we are done with 30 minutes of video recording via the rear camera. Among the two, the Nord recorded a peak of 40 degrees Celsius around the top region, while the iQOO Z10 fared slightly better as it recorded around 37 degrees Celsius. Moving forward, I ran a 30-minute video recording from the front camera as well, and since the Nord CE, despite having a beefier chip, doesn't support 4K recording from the front camera, this was a 1080p 60 FPS recording. For now, here are some of the comparison photos of the Nord CE and the iQOO Z10 side by side. Let me know in the comments which phone you think took the better shots. Of course, for a detailed overview of the camera, the individual reviews of both phones are live on the Digit website, and I will also leave the links in the description below. With that, we are done with an hour of video recording, and the iQOO Z10 has widened its lead with 84% battery left, while the Nord CE is left with 72% battery. Alrighty, it is now time to run some benchmarks to get an idea if both phones are put under heavy load in the real world, which one is going to give the better endurance. I will also quickly show the surface temperatures, which again peaked at around 40 degrees on the Nord CE and at around 37 degrees on the iQOO Z10. So first up, the specs. The Nord CE5 is powered by the MediaTek Dimensity 8350 Apex chip coupled with up to 12GB LPDDR5X RAM and 256GB UFS 3.1 storage. The iQOO Z10 on the other hand is powered by the Snapdragon 7S Gen 3 processor coupled with up to 12GB LPDDR4X RAM and 256GB UFS 2.2 storage. Now starting with Geekbench 6, and in both single core and multi-core performance, both phones recorded a solid showing for their prices, with the Nord CE5 taking the lead. Strangely, in AnTuTu, the iQOO Z10's scores didn't display after the test finished, but based on our testing during the review period, the phone scored about 807,000 at the time versus the Nord CE5's 1.3 million score that you just saw right now. So the OnePlus again dominated the round. Moving on to the 3D Mark gaming benchmark, while the Nord CE5 recorded a better peak performance, it came at the cost of stability. The iQOO Z10 scored a consistent 98.9% stability across its 20 minutes. Similarly, in the CPU throttle test too, the iQOO Z10 posted a better and consistent overall performance. In fact, versus OnePlus's 72% score, the iQOO Z10 reported no throttling, showing the Snapdragon 7S Gen 3's prowess. Now here are the benchmark scores of both phones on your screens right now. You can pause and take a look. With that, a little over 4 hours have gone, and so we'll have to cut down a little in the gaming round. And right now, the iQOO Z10 is still in the lead with 69% battery left, while the Nord CE5 has 47% battery. Now on to the gaming round, easily the most fun part. Now, both phones handle gaming quite differently. For instance, Asphalt 9 Legends runs at up to 90 FPS on the Nord CE5, while the iQOO Z10 caps out at 60 FPS. Similarly, games like BGMI and Call of Duty Mobile, they can reach up to 120 FPS on the Nord, whereas the iQOO stays limited to 60 FPS. That said, while the Nord's benchmarks peaked at around 40 degrees Celsius, both phones stayed fairly cool during normal use. As seen in the tests too, the Nord CE5 definitely packs more raw power and can deliver higher frame rates, but it does so at the cost of stability. Occasional frame drops are noticeable in longer sessions. The iQOO Z10 on the other hand might not chase big numbers, but it nails consistency. So if you value smooth, stable gameplay over sheer performance, the iQOO Z10 takes the win. Alright, we are done with around 45 minutes of gaming, and after a total of 5 hours, the iQOO Z10 is left with 62% battery, while the Nord CE5 is trailing with 38% battery. With that, we are in the last leg of our battery drain test comparison. I will now run an hour of Instagram on both devices here, but without keeping you waiting until the last minute, I am going to fast forward to the 6-hour mark, and with that, the OnePlus Nord CE5 finishes with 28% battery, while the iQOO Z10 finishes with 56% battery. So after 6 hours of continuous testing, it's clear that the iQOO Z10 is the more power efficient phone here. Despite running the same set of tasks, the iQOO consistently stayed cooler and drained far less battery. That larger 7300 mAh cell combined with iQOO's efficient power management really shows its advantage in real world endurance. The OnePlus Nord CE5 on the other hand focuses on raw power and speed. It's the better performer overall, especially for gaming at higher FPS and faster day-to-day use, but that performance clearly comes at the cost of battery life. So if you're someone who wants a fast smartphone that will need a top-up by evening, the Nord CE5 fits. But if your priority is longer screen time and consistent battery backup, the iQOO Z10 is the one to go for. Rest, what are your thoughts about this battery drain test comparison? Write it down in the comments below, and as always, for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Digit. I will catch you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.